possibly maximize, right? All right, here we go. Okay, so we're live, and that way, if anyone misses it, you can also share that video, Jean, afterwards. So since we're at the top of the hour, I know we have a lot of ladies that are going to be popping in, but I want to get started right away because today's topic is I started reading this book called The Millionaire Mind over the weekend. My husband and I listened to the audio all the way up to Mexico or down to Mexico, and we restarted the book and listened to it again on the way back. And I just love the conversation about being rich, and not too many women conversation about being rich. And I don't know why that is, because money creates opportunities. You want more vacations, you want more to buy more things, you want to have more opportunities, happiness, whatever it is that you want in your life, money does that for you. So my dear friend Jean Kuhn, who is my coach, and Jean, I met Jean a little over a year ago at a networking event that I had been going to for quite some time. I know David Fagan, and I've been going to that networking event. And Jean just happened to be in a breakout session with me, so I scheduled a call with her. And she thought I was getting on the phone with her to talk to her about Lead Up for Women. And I was interviewing her to learn what she could do to help me with my business. And it's interesting because I was in the I'm in the building phase. We're all, many of us are probably still in that building phase of building our businesses. And I needed someone specific that I was looking for that had the personality traits that I was looking for. And I was serious about talking about money. I was not looking at other things in my business. I was looking at how do I build serious cash in my business, and where am I leaving money on the table? And, it's interesting because I coach ladies today on doing that and have for 20 years. But no matter what, we're always still in our own frame. So that is why we need other people. And that's why I needed Jean and still continue to work with her, because she helps me see the landscape of my entire business when we sometimes are in tunnel vision, So I want to thank Jean for everything she's done for me. And I'm going to go ahead and mute Roanne there. So I want to thank her for everything she's done for me. And I know the topic that she's going to be teaching about today, she is very proficient in, has had a lot of experience in this area. So I think you're really going to enjoy what she teaches us in this Teaching Tuesday. And for those of you that aren't members of Lead Up for Women, this can be your platform too. Our ladies in Lead Up for Women get the opportunity to not only teach this Teaching Tuesday webinar, they have the opportunity to be interviewed on our podcast, to write articles in the magazine, to do the 10 tips in the magazine, to do a Member Monday spotlight, which I did one from Mexico on Monday. So I work even when I'm on vacation. I will do a spotlight for you and get you out there to the community. So I'm dedicated to you. I would ask you, are you dedicated to your growth in your business to be seen, be heard, and be visible? And if that's a yes, I'll drop the membership link in the bottom, and you can go ahead and get signed up so you can take advantage of not only meeting all these wonderful ladies on a regular basis and communicating with them and collaborating with them, but being able to tap into the resources that they have available for you to be able to grow your businesses and really live the life you desire. Because if anyone asked me what I desired in life and what I wanted, it takes a lot of money. So I'm just going to be honest. So Jean, I'm going to turn it over to you, lady. You might want to wave so everyone can see who you are, but I'm going to turn this over to you because this is all about you for the next 45 minutes.
Oh, thanks, Colleen. I am so happy to be here. Colleen has been telling me that I need to do this. And it's about finding the time, right, in our businesses. And I am all about women making more money. So that's what I really love to, yeah, right? And that's what I really love to talk about is making more money. I do believe that it's easier to make money than most women, most men even, perceive it to be. So today, I'm going to start with you guys. This is going to be an interactive conversation. This is not me yammering onto you for 45 minutes, right? I'll be asking questions. Please unmute yourselves and participate because honestly, I've been known to just wait for you, right? So let's go ahead and get started. And I want to ask you one question. Raise your hand. How many of you are smart enough not to buy a bankrupt business? Raise your hand. Right? We should all be smart enough not to buy a bankrupt business. And yet I did not get that memo, right? I bought not one, but two bankrupt businesses. And I turned them both around within 12 months, adding over 6 figures to the bottom line, right? And it was at that point I realized that I could really increase my cash flow fast with no list and no budget for marketing, right? How many of you feel like you can't market to the point that you want because you don't have enough cash to do that? Well, when I bought those 2 bankrupt businesses, I put all of my money into them. By the way, do you know why I bought 2 bankrupt businesses? I bought it for 3 reasons. Number one, it was chocolate stores. You guys, how many of you are in Colorado, Arizona, that area, right? You guys probably know of this. Was a franchise, Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. There happened to be one in the Chicago area that was bankrupt and they were getting ready to close it. But I'm like, oh no, let me take that, right? Let me buy that bankrupt business. And I did it because when you buy a bankrupt business, it literally, they give them away, right? They literally give them away for pennies on the dollar. Now, I don't know if that's a great thing that I did there, or if I was just too dumb to think that I could fail, because I would not fail. If I would have failed, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the other reason I bought it is when I walked into it the first time, looking around, I knew how I could change that and make it a profitable business. And basically that was all I needed to do, was to add product in there to buy. That's a big important piece of a business model. You should have product to purchase when you have a retail store. And I really needed to clean it up, because when I went to look for it, I'm walking down the sidewalk and I can't find it. I knew what street it was on. I knew approximate area it was in, and yet I could not find it. And eventually my husband and I stepped away from the buildings, right? Moved toward the road on the sidewalk and looked up, and I was standing right in front of it. Now, how did I miss that, right? How did I miss it? They have a big front window. I missed it because the owner at the time had pushed the fudge table right up to the window, covered it with a raggedy, dirty, dusty cloth. Probably wasn't when she put it on there. And they had these dusty silk flower arrangements tiered all the way down, so you could not see in the window. I thought it was a florist, right? I walked by it several times and I thought, well, I didn't know there was a florist down here. I wouldn't go in because it's all dirty, right? But I didn't know that that's what it was. So we walked in and really saw what bad shape it was in. And it's no wonder that it was being really, they're like, they couldn't wait to get rid of it. So what I realized right away is they had a bad message. Their messaging for their business was very, very poor. It said, their messaging said, I'm a dirty florist, don't come in here, right? That's really what the messaging said to you when you walked by. So how many of you know what your messaging is saying to potential clients? Go ahead. It says vision for the soul, but what's your name? I'm sorry.
That's Michelle.
It's Michelle.
Michelle.
So yeah, I need to change that too. For my Zoom meetings. Okay. So no, I'm glad that you said that, because I have been getting a lot of feedback, and because my business is vision board music, but so working directly with businesses is the vision for the soul piece. So I've just now figured out that I needed to take the vision board music out of it because it confuses people. So is that kind of what you're
Exactly. That is the prime example of dusty flowers in your window, right? If it's not telling the client exactly what it does when they hear your messaging. My message is, I help business owners turn around their business and increase their cash flow fast. Is there any doubt what I do? No. What is your, Michelle, tell us what your message is. So you might call it a 60-second or 30-second infomercial, but I call it an 8-second message. What's yours?
Okay, my 8-second message then would be that I help exhausted, unclear, and lacking energy entrepreneurs and CEOs, executives, to shine the light from the inside out in their life and their business.
Okay, so I'm going to say that you really need to work on the messaging, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
That messaging, number one, it's entrepreneurs, CEOs, and executives, right? That's 3 different niches there. Your marketing message should cover one niche, right?
Would that be 3?
You would have 3 messages. You could have 3 messages based on the audience that you're talking to.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. the second thing is, I don't know what the hell you do, right? Based on what you
Okay.
just said, I couldn't begin to tell somebody. It's like, I met this woman, Michelle, this morning. Oh my God, we're going to love her. You wait till you find out what she does. She helps people shine from the inside out.
That's not good. Okay. Well,
No.
you know what? It's just, you know what's confusing to me, and I want to be honest with you, because you talk to so many people, and then they're like, talk about who you're talking to, and then they're like, no, talk about what you do, and then it's just like, what do I do?
Well, that's just
like,
it.
how do,
You've got to fine tune. You got to reel that in, right? I never thought in my
okay.
million years I would ever use a fishing analogy for anything in business, but I did. So
Okay. Well,
you
there
have
you
to
go.
you have to tell people exactly, turn around your business and increase your cash flow fast. It really has
Okay.
to be that clear for people, right?
Well,
Now,
if I had to say it off the top of my head, then I help people to find their natural energy and get their energy back about life. I mean, that's what I do. But is that still not really clear?
it's not really clear. Are you an energy
Okay.
worker?
I'm a light worker,
Okay.
but what I would say, I mean, I use musical tools in order to and facilitate workshops in order
Yeah.
to do that. So I guess that would
So,
be
first of all, I want you to pay attention later when I make, I'm going to tell you about something kind of cool I'm doing later, and
okay.
you might be interested in it.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
you're welcome. But I want to give, that's a perfect example. Last year I worked for a woman, or 2 years ago, we had a VIP day, and the name of her company was Inspired Party Rentals. Any of you inspired by party rentals? Anybody? Anybody? Right? Nobody is, right? It's the
Yeah.
worst name ever. So really what she was a high-end concierge event planner. OMG, right? It sounds like a low-income neighborhood. I've got a bounce house to rent, right? So we changed everything up about her business in about 4 hours, including her. I had a guy who I had on the phone with us while during our VIP day. We were changing not only her messaging, not only the name of her business did we change, but we also changed her website, like all in about 4 hours, right? It was really gave her a complete, and I don't normally do that, but it just so happened the web guy was available. So we just got him on the phone and did it while we were changing it. But she couldn't make any money. She'd made $1,000 in the previous 12 months, right? It's because nobody's inspired by party rentals, right? But we are, for those of us who understand that money is easy to make, we are inspired by a high-end party concierge who can come in and do it for us so that we can enjoy the party with our friends, right? And that's exactly what she did. And yet nobody knew it. They thought she was renting bounce houses, right? So your messaging has to be super clear. Another a good example of this is several years ago, I was at Midway Airport in Chicago, and I was flying to West Palm Beach. And I noticed a young man at the gate, and he was in a wheelchair, but he was about the same age as my oldest son. So I was really kind of drawn to them, that mother-son thing. And as a mom, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder what happened. Because he didn't seem like he had been like in a wheelchair forever. And I'm just standing at the gate. I'm just paying attention, right? Well, we happened to sit together from the flight from from Tampa to West Palm Beach. And in that 45-minute flight, he told me all about how he got hurt in college. He and his roommate were drinking. Doesn't every bad story start with, we were drinking in college? His roommate flipped him. He landed on his neck and broke his neck. Now imagine getting that call as a mother with a child in college. He obviously had to leave college. But in the meantime, while he was recuperating, and he's still actually paralyzed from the chest down, but what he was started doing from there is he created, remember back to MySpace pages, right? He had created a website that he was designing MySpace templates and giving them away for free. And people would come to his site every week to find out what was new and exciting. He was making $12,000 a month from giving away these free templates. How was he doing that? Advertising, right? People were advertising on his site because he was getting so many hits. Well, guess what happened when Facebook came on the scene? What happened? MySpace went away, right? Tanked, right? He literally went from $12,000 to $0 overnight, right? Yeah. And so pretty much most of the flight there was him telling me how much he hated Mark Zuckerberg. So, but that's another story. But anyway, here's the thing. He only had one revenue stream, right? One revenue stream. How many streams of revenue should every business owner have? 5, 7, 7. You should have 3 to 4 good marketing strategies. And here's the problem that most small business owners have is they hears from, let's just say Joanne, I love Joanne here. And she says, oh my gosh, Jean, I heard about this new thing. It's called whoop-de-doo, make a social media post that you post and it like goes to the entire world. And then it goes around the world and it comes back to you. It like, and everybody who hears that's like, my God, I must have that, right? Instead of just working 3 or 4 really good strategies. Now, why I say 4 is if you had a table, how many legs does that table need to stand? 4. You could get by with 3, but 4 makes it more stable, right? So I always suggest 4 marketing strategies that you would have. So today I thought I would share with you 4 marketing strategies I used to turn around those bankrupt businesses when I first bought them. I like literally in the middle of that lost my train of thought there. So I'm going to share with you the 4 strategies I used when I did not have a list and I did not have a budget, because I put every dollar I had into a bankrupt business, right? Wasn't thinking ahead. Not suggesting anybody do that. I'm much smarter now than I was a long time ago. So that's what I want to share with you today. So number 1 was customer service. How many of you believe you have the most outstanding customer service out there? I would say, Colleen, you're right, because I know you. Yeah, the rest of you who've not raised your hands, and if you want to come on camera, I'd love to be able to see you. But most business owners think they're giving great customer service and they're giving okay customer service, right? Customer service looks like going above and beyond for your clients. Customer service, it's first of all, it's the freest, most freest marketing opportunity out there, right? It's the best way to serve, to get clients to understand what you do and want to continue to do that, because when you provide good customer service, your customers will stay with you longer, they will refer more people to you, and they will buy more from you. So customer service is super important in a small business. And I'm going to share with you a couple examples of that. One was when I had that chocolate store. Number 1, that was the only thing I had to start with was customer service. I didn't have any money, so I better be nice to my customers so they would come back. But about 2 years after I opened that, or I bought that store, right across the street and kitty corner, right? Literally, I could see them from my front window. Another chocolate store opened up across the street, kitty corner. If you walked into their store, you weren't going to be sure, were you in a Rocky Mountain chocolate factory or a Kilwin's chocolate store, right? You wouldn't know where you were if you hadn't looked at the sign. It was an exact duplicate of my store. And it was, my first thought was, holy crap, now what? And I realized pretty fast that the only way I could compete with them was on customer service, right? I had to be bigger, better, whatever that meant. And I'll tell you what it meant. It meant that when Kilwin's came out and they're putting coupons out into the neighborhoods, I put a sign in my window that said, we honor competitors' coupons, right? Number 1. Number 2 is, exactly, Michelle, right? Number 2 is, Kilwin's wasn't very smart at the beginning because their franchise newsletter was listed at the bottom of their website, right? So anybody could go on and see their franchisee newsletter. Well, we were all about watching what Kilwin's is doing, because what is it that's saying? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I always knew how many people they had in their store, what was going on in their store. And all right, I'm not necessarily proud of this, but I'm going to advise you all to do the same thing. So we read their newsletter, and their company, the Kuhn's Franchise Corporation, put out a newsletter that said, here's our July special. Buy a half a pound of fudge. We will donate a half a pound of fudge to soldiers. I'm like, I love that. I love the military. Within 24 hours, I had a big banner, a big flag banner with our promo right through that said, buy a pound of fudge. We'll donate a pound of fudge to the troops overseas, right? Not only, so now, number one, Kuhn's couldn't run that promo now, right? Because they would look like an exact copy of what I was already doing. So I got credit for that. I won an Excellent in Business award from the Chamber of Commerce for that promotion. I got an award from my franchise. It was Rocky Mountains, a franchise. I got an award for best franchise promotion, right? That the company itself adopted and is still doing to this day. And that's been probably about 15 years ago, right? They're still doing fudge for soldiers, right? We probably donated over 3 tons of fudge over the time that I owned that store. And not every franchise had to do that. But I will tell you, once I got into it, I felt a little bad because I loved that so much. And the soldiers who got it, they returned the love, right? They sent us videos. They made videos. They made comic, funny videos for us. I got 2 American flags that flew over Afghanistan, that they flew it out the window. You could see it on the Chinook helicopter. They're flying the flag, the American flag, over Afghanistan, and then they sent me those flags. It was the most heartwarming promotion I've ever done, and it meant so much to them. And I got letters from women who were over there for the first time, who were so sad and missed sitting at home in their pajamas. I will tell you guys, when you go to touch other people, and when you go, I feel bad because I started this just to screw Kuhn's, right? And it really meant so much to me when we finally got going to that. But you can take that, look and see what your competitors are doing. Do it better.
That's just the way that it is, though, isn't it? I mean, that's what they all, to look at your competitors and see what they're doing. And
yes,
it's only better for the marketplace, I feel like. For
exactly.
the people.
Exactly. And treat your people well. Treat your customers well. Right. So, all right. So that's customer service. How are you portraying yourself to other people? And it also falls under the promotion piece, which I really love to talk about. And I'm going to talk about the end because that's the part I love the most. All right. Number 2 is strategic volunteering. Right. I have a friend in Ahwatukee, Arizona. Now, how far is that from you, Colleen? Ahwatukee. It's just fun to say. How far is that from you?
It's like, I have a friend that lives there, so it's like 20 minutes. It's not very far.
So Christy Ellis is a real estate agent in Ahwatukee, Arizona. And she and I used to be mastermind partners. And we talked a lot about volunteering. And so she nicknamed it strategic volunteering. So what that looks like is I stepped up into the business association. I volunteered my time to arrange one of their custom summer art projects, right? And got to meet all of the business owners in town by going in and selling them the art project for the year. I had a 30% increase in sales that year, and that was the only thing I was doing. I wasn't doing any extra marketing, but it's about showing your people how you show up. The great idea of this, there's this big zoo in the Chicagoland area called the Brookfield Zoo. I had a client in LaGrange, Illinois, who was asked to join the board of the Brookfield Zoo. So now what does that really mean? What that really means is he got to pay $25,000 to be part of the board for the Brookfield Zoo. Why would he be willing to spend $25,000 to be on the board? Anybody have an idea? Raise your hand, I'll call, right? Okay, well, let me tell you. He did that so that he was hanging out. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't know I came off of mute. I was laughing because I was like,
Okay.
well, would he have invested that because of the connections that he would have with the other board members?
100%. He was hanging out with higher level income people. He's a financial planner, right? He's looking to connect with all of these higher level income people and bring them on as clients, right? Totally worth it for him, right? To do that. That's strategic volunteering. Are you using strategy in your volunteering efforts, or are you just out there volunteering? Let's go back to Christy Ellis for a moment. There was a time when her daughter, she has 16-year-old twins. When they were 9 or 10, there was pictures every week about her daughters playing with puppies at the Humane Society, right? That was strategic volunteering, where she got to showcase something good she was doing in the community, and she was doing it from a really non-salesy, in your face place, right? Hey, here's my daughters playing with puppies. I watched every one of those videos. You put a puppy in the picture, I'm in, right? So people got to know her. She's since won the Ahwatukee Businesswoman of the Year 2 times, at least 2 that I know of, right? So it's about how can you strategically volunteer in your community and get your business name out there as well. All right, number 3 was sampling. I owned a chocolate store at the time. You go into the chocolate store, don't you expect a sample at the time? Absolutely.
Yes.
It's like, yes, yes. Listen, we had, I can't remember, Sample Sally is I think what we called her, because it was a woman who would walk every day on her way to the train station and just walk in to see what we happened to be. She never bought anything. Sample Sally never bought anything, but she wanted a sample, right? Well, what did we do? We always treated her well and treated her with respect, because someday Sample Sally's going to buy something, and hopefully it's going to be from us, right? I don't know if it ever was, but sampling, how can you sample what you do in your business? Every single one of you can sample what you do. How can you, I'd like to ask about that. How are you sampling people in your business right now? Jaya, go ahead.
I I take my main product, several of them, and at least a week supply, as well as my energy drinks. I make very nice sachet and a very good envelope. I put a letter and send it to their addresses, and I call them up and tell them whether they got it. Again, tell them how to take it, and I ask them whether it suits them. I keep following. That's the way I do.
Exactly, right? That's a great way there. How do you do that if you're a service-based business? Melissa.
I give them value on the phone when they call and ask me a question. I give them something that they can go with and walk away with something that they can do, an action plan.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Grace Ann said offer free paint samples. Grace Ann is a home interior designer, home designer, stager. So yeah, she's offering paint samples. That's a great one, Grace Ann. For Colleen, how are you sampling people?
I show up for events. So I get out there and I offer a lot of opportunity, and I share a lot of what I do. And I give advice to a lot of people, whether it be putting together a small little hour opportunity or it could be a 30-minute opportunity. But people need to know how to remember you by, right? You need to leave an
Absolutely.
impression and be memorable. So that's your goal. How are you different? How are you leaving that impression, and how are you memorable? And you can do that in 1,000 different ways.
Absolutely. I do it by speaking, and you do it by speaking too, Colleen, right? You're out there, you're speaking to small business groups. Every single one of you who have a business should be speaking. It is the fastest path to cash, right? If you want to get more clients, get out there and start speaking. If you don't know what to speak about, write out your top 10 frequently asked questions and put together a talk right around that. What do people need to know how you help them? What do they need to know about how you help them, right? I do not know why my phone is ringing right now, but let me just hang it up there. Oh, that's my husband. I hung up before I knew that it was him. So he's probably going to call back. So,
We won't tell them.
thank you. Thank you. You know, the working from home, right, with Zoom. Oh my gosh, right? So sampling, getting out there, telling people how you can help them, telling people what you do, and giving them value. That is exactly how you sample somebody. Just exactly what Colleen said, exactly what Melissa said. It's getting out there and showing them how you help them. Okay. All right. Now I saved the last one, number 4, for the most fun. It's literally, you guys, when I bought that store, it was like, I felt like, oh my God, this is what I'd been training for since I became self-employed, right? By the way, how many of you know exactly the day you became self-employed? April 29th, 1985 at 8:52 p.m. Anybody beat that? Anybody, right? So 36 years ago, it was 36 years in April last month, I became self-employed because that was when that first baby was born. And when the nurse put him in my arms, I knew I was not going back to a job I hated. So you guys don't have to, you guys can figure this out, right? You can figure this out. If I did, you can. It took me a long time, which is why I'm here today sharing things with you, so you don't have to take as long as it took me to do that. So anyway, number 4, this is promotions and advertising, right? That fudge piece there, that was a promotion, right? We ran it every single year for years, right? Till I sold the stores, right? Ran it every single year, and created over 3 tons, that's 6,000 pounds of fudge that we eventually sent overseas. And we just hooked up. Now, that would have cost a fortune to ship that, right? I hooked up with a group in Illinois that automatically ships boxes. So I just called and said, hey, can we put some stuff in your boxes? And they were happy to have it, right? Cost me $0 to do that, just the donation. So thank you. Thank you, Samantha. So promotions was so fun for me, right? Because I have one rule, and it's been my rule forever. Work hard, play hard. Okay, I have 2 rules. Work hard, play hard. And if it's not fun, I'm not doing it, right? Yeah. So I had to make everything fun. I made all of my marketing fun. Now, what that really meant was it made it easy. I like to laugh, and I like to laugh sometimes at other people's expenses. That, don't judge me, right? But what I did was I would make all of my things, like one of the promotions I had, remember when Twitter came out and everybody's getting their name and we're starting to tweet before it got all political and gross. So once a day, I would put out a Twitter special, right? I had a whole thing where people were following me. I had a newsletter. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But they could come in, if they knew the password, they could come in and get a percentage off of their sale that day. The password was always something terribly ridiculous that they would have to say, most likely would embarrass themselves by saying it to the clerk. Nothing bad, but I would make them say something along the lines of maybe, how much is it to kiss that big stuffed bear sitting outside, right? That would be the password, right? If they came in and said, and I would have to call the store, it's like, today the password is, how much is it to kiss the big bear that's sitting outside? Because if you guys know anything about a Rocky Mountain chocolate factory, we have a big stuffed bear that sits outside the store, right? So let's talk about that bear for a moment. It was my first Valentine's Day in the store. It was the day after Valentine's Day. It was dusk, and it was lightly snowing. And by the way, in a chocolate store, there is nothing going on in the store the day after Valentine's Day. My 17-year-old son was working in the store that night. And I know it was snowing and dark because it's in the police report. And when I got a phone call from my son that said, Mom, Truffles has been stolen. And I was like, first I was a little like, what? Like, that bear's $300. I don't have any money. I put every dime into this business. Like, how am I going to replace the bear, right? He was so afraid to call me. But then it kicked in. I wrote a press release. I had a poster made with his big face on there. I didn't even have a picture of Truffles. I had to call stores to see if they could send me one. I had a missing poster made, told the tragic story because this is exactly what happened. A white panel van pulled up in front of my store. The door flung open, out jumped two ski masked, I'm assuming teens, right? Threw the bear into the back of the white panel van and took off, right? I wrote the funniest press release. I sent it to every radio station and television station and newspaper in the Chicago area. And we ended up on the CBS Chicago News the next night. And that was the same time they signed, I don't even know who he is, but it was a long time ago, Dave Maddox to the Cubs. So we actually beat out Dave. It was, I guess, a big deal. It was leading the 5 o'clock news. We led the 5 o'clock news that night with that story. And for weeks after, people would come into the store and ask us, had we gotten our bear back? There's a channel called Chicagoland TV News. It's a cable news channel. They ran that story over and over for about 2 weeks. And people would come in and say, hey, I saw your commercial. We don't have a commercial, right? What they were seeing was the news story that CLTV was running over and over and over. And by the way, you guys, you can make a commercial to run on cable really, really cheap compared. I think when we hear commercial, we think Super Bowl, right? $1 million commercials. No, I ran commercials. Now I'm going to go back for years. I'm sure it's no longer this way. But I was able, the most I paid for a commercial run was $28. The least I paid for a commercial run was $2, right? It was running on cable and it depended on what station it was on. And they called me and said, hey, we've got a special and we're running it on, I remember when it was with the crime one. What was the crime one called? I
Like
can't
CSI
even remember.
or something?
No, it was like, I can't remember, but it was like a cable channel. It was like there's sci-fi, but it's called something else now. But there was one, I can't remember, it was a crime channel. So they ran it on the crime channel and like the one that men watch all the time. I can't remember
Truth
what it was.
TV or something. There was
Sports?
Truth TV.
I can't remember what, I know that it's different, but I can't even remember the channels because it was a while ago. But they were offering it for $2 a run, right? And I just called them up every month and I said, I have $1,000 I can throw at a commercial this month. Run it as many times as you can. So for $2, I could run it a lot of times, right? But I would put it on a couple more expensive channels or channels, and then I would run it the $2 ones. I got a customer from the one History Channel. That was it. It was the History Channel was one of them. The History Channel, we got a guy who came in, scared the hell out of me. He looked like a biker from did you guys ever see Sons of Anarchy? Right? He scared me. He really scared me when he came in. Nicest guy ever, right? Who would come in every 6 weeks regularly for years and spend about $60 to $70. Now, my average ticket sale in that store was $8.55, right? He came in and spent $60 every 6 weeks. So that's one of the things that I got. And we track that. You guys have to track all of that. I got off track though, talking about the commercial, but it is very reasonable. If you've got a service-based business that is serving a location in your town, check into what cable advertising costs, because it's probably not as much as nationwide syndicated channels, but it's probably a little bit more than $2 now. So, but it is very affordable. All right. So let's move on. The bear. I told the bear story. Other marketing promotions that I did is we would get this. I would hear this all the time when people came in. I could never work here. I would eat everything. I literally, my daughter is an OR nurse now because she never wants to deal with the public again, which is funny that she thinks she's not, but anyway, whatever. But she's a nurse now, and she still tells the story about how people would come in and say that day in and day out, right? And I could just smile and let it flow, right? It's my store, but the employees got mad about it. It's like, oh God, you have another one of them, right? But anyway, so I came after a particularly difficult employee day. I came home and I said to my husband, you know, the employees are driving me crazy. I said, wouldn't it be great if we could just get people to work for us and pay us to do it, right? So many customers come in and say they couldn't work there or they'd love to work there. And then when they would say, I'd love to work there, I'd always say, we probably couldn't afford you then, right? If you'd love to work here. But the point is, I said to them, why couldn't we find a way to let customers come in here, pay us to work here? So Kids in the Kitchen Camp was born, right? People would pay to send their kids to kids in the kitchen camp, and we put them to work for the day, right? They worked with the employees throughout the day. They had to wash dishes. They had to wipe down the counters, but they also got to do the fun stuff that they really wanted to do, right? They got to ring customers up on the cash register. Every kid loved the cash register. They got to dip strawberries. They got to make caramel. They got to dip caramel apples. We never cooked while they were there because that would have been dangerous. We never made fudge while they were there because that would be dangerous, right? Anything that they could have gotten hurt, we would not do it those days. But people would pay me $50 to send their kids to Kids in the Kitchen Camp, right? For 6 hours. They had to bring their own lunch and they had to sit on milk crates in the back room because we did not have chairs, right? Why would I never have a chair in a Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory? Because I don't want to see my employees sitting down, right? So we didn't have that. So how could you take some of these ideas and incorporate those into your business, right? How could you add some fun to your business, right? The more fun your people have, the more fun you'll have. How many of you know what Kohl's Cash is? Kohl's Cash, right? None of you, some of you guys don't shop at Kohl's. All right, so Kohl's Cash is when you buy so much, they give you X amount of dollars, right? I created my own version of Kohl's Cash. And because we specialized in caramel apples, I called it Apple Bucks, right? The month of November, October, our busiest month of the year, was when I gave out Apple Bucks, right? And then they would use them, they were only good for the month of November, right? And the first year, I think we gave out over we increased our sales like 12%. Now doesn't seem like that much unless you know that we're doing $30,000, $40,000 a month in sales. That was a lot the first year we ran it, right? By the time we were done, we were up to about $7,000, $8,000 a month additional income over the years because every year it got bigger, right? But they could only use those Apple Bucks in November, which was our worst month of the year, right? That month between October, all about the caramel apple. October 31st, somebody shuts that caramel apple light off, and then there's nothing happening till Christmas. All right, I'm gonna see if we have any questions right now. I'd love to talk to you guys, answer any questions that you may have before I finish up here. Go ahead.
Just unmute yourself. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Michelle.
just unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you so much. I love that you love to have fun. That's what I think business is all about. And I like to say I like to put the dance back into abundance. And so, so my question is, does it clarify what I do by saying I'm a communications coach and a culture design consultant for companies? Does that help?
No, you should just say you're one or the other, depending on the market you're talking to.
Okay. Okay. But either one clarifies it. And then I would say
I don't know what the second one was. What'd you say?
We'll say the first one.
Communication coach. I get that, right?
Okay.
What was the other one?
The other one's a culture design consultant for companies.
No, I don't know what that is. Right?
I don't know what that is. Okay.
No,
so it'd be more like just diversity, inclusion.
So now I know what it is. Now
Okay.
I know what that is, right? So say that. That's what people understand. You guys don't try to get so clever, because here's what I've learned. You know, I'm here today to share with you some things that I've learned over the years, so you don't make the same mistake twice, or so you don't make the same mistake. But here's the thing, what I learned. Cheesy and clever do not sell. If you think your message is really clever and it's kind of cheesy and maybe funny, it will not sell. What sells is the outcome you provide to your clients, right? Yeah, I'm the queen of cheese. I love cheese. I love myself a little cheese there, but it does not sell. So I have to really speak in what I do. What's the outcome I provide to people, right? Is it fun? No. But here's the thing, what you want from your marketing message. You want a marketing message so clear that they say to you, Michelle, how do you do that, right? How do you do that? If you're providing inclusion and diversity, how do you do that? Tell us more, right? That's all I want. I want somebody to say, how do you turn around in a business and help me increase my cash flow fast? That's all I want. Now you've opened a conversation where we can have, so I can then at some point maybe talk to you about working with me. And that's exactly what all of you want also, right? You want that opportunity to book more sales conversations by what you do. So we're getting really close here to the end. So would it be okay if I shared something kind of, I've got actually, I may be sharing too much. Is that okay? Would it be okay if I shared some stuff?
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have I'm gonna tell you a couple things I have. Number one, I have a free group that we meet Monday through Friday. I started this group during the lockdown last year because I happened to be in a room with Zig Ziglar in the 1990s. And I learned at that point that if you can stay in business during a recession, you're going to come out on the other end, one of the most successful businesses. So and he said, I never participate in a recession. So I thought, wow, if Zig Ziglar is not participating, who am I to argue with it? I'm not going to participate anymore either. And I've never participated in another recession. Okay, that's one. But I started this group during the lockdown to help small business owners stay in business. And guess what? It's now 14, almost 15 months later, and I'm still doing a 5-day-a-week, 15 to 30-minute training with them every single day, right? So if you guys would like to be part of that, I'd love to invite you to come and check it out. What you're going to get out of it is you're going to meet some new people that you don't know already. So I love that about it. So that's going to be I'm going to drop all this stuff into as a matter of fact, I'll just drop it in there right now, and then you can look at what I'm doing here. Let me just drop that in the chat if that's okay. Okay, whoops. There we go. Okay, so that's the last link on the page there that you've got this. That's the free, and some of you guys participate. Grace Ann participates in it. Joanne, Jaya participate in it. Let's look up there at the offer, right? Coming up in July, I have a one-day event that's called the New Rules for Lead Generation, Marketing, and Revenue in 2021. So there are new rules to business after coming out of what the hell, whatever that was we've come through in the last year. And yay for you guys for all being in business still. High five, because look around how many businesses are not out there anymore. And I know they're gone from the Chicago area, and I'm assuming they're gone from your area as well. Yeah. So if you'd like to come to that, I'd love to have you. It's going to be a one-day event on a Friday, and it's called the New Rules for Lead Generation, Marketing, and Revenue in 2021. It's a $47 ticket price. Actually, if you know what, it's a $297 ticket price, but would you guys like it for free? Okay, if you want to come, I'm gonna take this. It's free gift. And honestly, that's not like a plan that I had, but I just forgot that normally I do a $47 one, and that might be the price there. I don't remember. So if it's $297, and if it's not $297 and it's only $47, I'll comp it for you too, because I have two different things I'm doing right now, and I'm kind of testing the thing there. So, but if you want it, I'm happy to give that to you for free. But you'll have to reach out to me to get it for free if it's only $47 there. All right, and then the last thing is coming up in September. I've got a 3-day turnaround conference, right? Turn around your business, increase your cash flow fast. And I'd love if you want to check that out there too. So any other questions there? I'd love to be able to help you guys answer anything that you would like to know in the next 4 minutes before I turn this back over to Colleen. I've got 4 minutes. I don't want to give them back.
Oh, I'm a little confused. Which link was for what of your offer?
I don't know. I don't know. Right? You could book a call with me there. There's so much there, Mary. Click on them all.
Thank you,
Copy it and
Jean.
click on them.
It's always a pleasure.
It's it's so good to see you again, right? Yeah. So if we go down the list there, the first one is the new rules link, and it says new rules in 2021. The second one is talk to Jean. If you want to talk to me, book a call. The third one is the turnaround conference. Hey, listen, I'm the first one to tell you, never put more than one offer out there. Why? A confused mind never buys. Pick one. I'd love to talk to you. If you want to do nothing more than book a call with me, I'm there. And honestly, it's because I copied everything and didn't realize there was so much more in that list when I copied it to stick it over there. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. And Colleen, thank you for letting
you,
me teach
Jean.
on Tuesday. Yeah, go ahead,
Michelle
Michelle.
has a question. Go ahead.
I have one more question. Is sharing any of these? I know that you're offering just the free opportunity for the people on this call today, but is there a way that we can help share your message? Who is the client that you're looking for exactly?
Well, honestly, I help small business owners turn around their business and increase their cash flow fast. That's my ideal market, small business owners, right?
So which of these would be best for us to share?
The new rules for marketing in 2021. I actually think I think the one I posted was the $47 one. But like I said, if it comes out $47, that code will not work. So I'll just let me know and I will get you another code for that, or just do it over the phone with you.
Okay, well, but if we share it, then they can, but that one you want them to pay the $47, but we'll just get the code for us, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm going to share that. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for asking, Michelle. I appreciate that. Colleen's like,
yes, so I'm watching the chat. So someone had asked if the recording is going to be available. Yes, Susan, the recording. Right now I'm recording it. It's also live on Facebook. All you have to do is go to our Facebook page and then you can watch the video on the Facebook page, which means it will then upload to our YouTube page. So it's going to be available on the YouTube page. So today's recording is going to be available everywhere. And then, of course, if Jean wants to reach out to each one of you, she can follow up with that as well. So Jean, thank you so much. Like I say, it's very important for us to earn cash. And when you're building a business and you don't have a lot of cash, what do you have a lot of time of? Time. You have a lot of time to do a lot of these strategies, to build a lot of these relationships and offer extremely awesome customer service and ask. I love that Michelle asked that and ask. Right? If you don't tell people what you do, if you don't tell them the problem you're solving and you're not out there asking, then the answer is always no. So you got to get out there and ask. And I know it's not something that women generally do, but you've got to ask. So ask for people to share your event. Ask for someone to have a phone call with you. Ask for someone to try your dog treats, Joanne. There's so many products and services you offer out there. So next week, we're going to be talking
I am
about,
in that.
hold on, someone need to mute. Okay, just checking. Okay, next week we're going to be Teresa Sperling's joining us. So those of you, we just talked about mastering your message today. And so next Tuesday, Teresa is going to help each one of us go through the how-tos of mastering your message. So that's going to be a really great one. I just dropped the link in the chat. All you have to do is click and for free sign up for next week's Teaching Tuesday, and we'll be right back here doing the same thing, same time that we meet every Tuesday, and Teresa's going to be working us through that. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today and for giving Jean the praise that she deserves. This is about collaboration. So we're not here to steal the spotlight from others. We're here to share the spotlight with others. And it's interesting how Jean and I do a lot of very similar things with communities that we build, services that we offer, but we do them so differently because Jean's wisdom and experience and my wisdom experience is very, very different. So we're to show you today that you can be in the same spotlight and share that with someone else and give them the time and lift others without judgment, without competition. And we're both flourishing in the world, in our businesses. So it is possible. So I want to just enforce that message for all of you today, to not be afraid of others and share the spotlight. And for all of you that are going to be joining us next week, we'll see you next Tuesday. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful week, ladies.
Wait, I want to grab the chat.
Okay, grab the chat. You guys can
Thank you.
save the chat. Just click on the chat. 3 little dots in the box. You can click on that and click save chat for any of you that need to save your chat for later. All right,
Thank you.
ladies, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.